Shirley Flexen here for Seconds Out, Adam Booth's gym in Red Hill, here with Shannon Courtenay, one of the newer members of Adam Booth's gym. How long have you been training here now? Because I believe you split your time between here and Islington ABC, your amateur club.
Yesterday was my first day in camp, training full time. But I started coming down here in March, and I was coming down a few times a month when I could get time off work really. Sometimes calling in sick for a week and coming here for a week, just whenever I could get down here to learn, I was coming down here.
How many amateur fights have you had so far, and what first got you into the sport?
I've had 20 amateur fights. I kind of got into sport by accident. I was really, really overweight. I had no confidence. I was in a lot of trouble. I was up to the wrong stuff, and then someone suggested going to a box exercise class, and I was a heavy smoker, a heavy drinker. So I went, and the guy that did the class said, "You're really talented, but obviously." He was blunt, he was really fat, and I was only...
Had you ever done anything before?
No, nothing. I used to be a dancer, and I used to be a footballer as well. I played high-level football when I was younger, and then I just stopped doing all sports altogether and just partied basically. And so I went to this box size class, and they said, you're really good at it. Why don't you go to general actual club? So I went to Finchley ABC, and first day there, they said same thing. You've got something there, but you're overweight. So I walked out of the gym after the first session, I threw cigarettes in the bin, and I never ever smoked or done anything like that ever again. And then they said to me a couple of weeks later, we'll take you to the internationals, the Haringey Box Cup. See if you enjoy boxing, if you like it. So my family, my granddad and my uncle, they always liked boxing, but I never really knew much about it. So I went to watch it, and I think at the time I was weighing 82 kilos. And they said to me, in about 3-4 years' time, we'll enter you in the same tournament at 69 kilos. Exactly 12 months later, I won gold at 57 kilos.
And you said you were 82. Was that when you first walked into the gym, were you 82?
I lost all of it. I got down to 60 kilos from the July to the... I had my debut in November as an amateur. It was meant to be 60 kilos, but I came in at 58.2, so I lost all that weight from July to November.
How old were you then when you first walked into a boxing gym?
21, and I had my first fight at 22, so I've only been boxing a few years really.
So why was it? What was it about boxing that attracted you rather than another sport to help you lose weight?
Probably the aggressiveness of it, the discipline. I needed discipline desperately in my life. I don't know, I've always been someone who's quite independent. So you play in football, you've got 10 other people with you. You know, when you're dancing, you've got a whole dance crew, and boxing, even though you've got a good team, it's kind of solely down to you. And I like the thought of this falls on me, and you get out what you put in, and you can't hide in boxing. And I like that about it. I like there's a bit of danger. I don't know, it just suits my personality more, I guess.
You mentioned the aggressiveness, you mentioned about getting into trouble in the past and stuff. Did you used to get into a lot of fights outside of the ring? Is that what you're talking about?
Not so much fights, just other stuff. Not so much fights, no.
Just getting up to general mischief.
I've always been an aggressive person, I guess you can say. But to be honest with you, I was aggressive until I started boxing. Now I'm not. I'm just aggressive when I fight. If you see me fight, you know I'm more aggressive than anything. But out of the ring now, I'm complete opposite. So boxing's changed me as a person. I'm a completely different person now to when I started boxing.
I'm guessing you, as well as giving up smoking, drinking, losing all the weight, you get into trouble a lot less. Maybe you go out a lot less as well.
Oh, I don't go out. I'm as disciplined as it goes. When the season's over, I might have a night out every now and then, but I don't go out. I'll go out when I've got the titles in my house and I'm finished. But until then, I want to give this sport everything. So.
You were with Finchley, Hoddesdon, Islington. Have I missed any clubs out?
I was with Finchley. I started there. That's where I was. I adored the club, and then obviously they left the alliance, so I had to leave because I had a fight scheduled for a title 2 weeks later. Then 2 months later, I was flying out to Sweden to box again, so I had no choice but to leave. Went to Hoddesdon, won a title over there. Was become the first ever non-elite boxer to win the Southern Area title in just my 12th or 13th fight. Then I went to Sweden with them, won a few fights there, but. You know when you're just not comfortable somewhere, and they were good to me, I'm not saying that they were, but I wasn't happy. I was the only female and I just wasn't happy. So I went to Islington and they literally made me fall in love with boxing again. Like Lenny Hagland, who runs it, most amazing man, and his family welcomed me. I just, when you fall in love with the sport again, I'm like, this is what I want to do. And yeah, I loved it there, good sparring, and it was nice.
How do you split your time now between Islington and Adam Booth's gym here in Surrey?
I don't, I'm here full time.
So you're not training at Islington at all anymore? Will you still be representing them in club competition?
I'll be at all their shows to represent. I'll probably still wear their tops in here, despite what he says. But yeah, no, they're a great club. They're family to me, so I'll always represent them, and I'll always, Team IBC.
That says a lot about them, doesn't it, as a club, that they don't mind you doing all your training here but still representing them? Because I know there's some stuffy old amateur clubs that would have a problem with it.
I won't be representing them no more. I am turning over.
Okay.
So.
Is that an exclusive? It might just be. Yeah.
I'm not turning over straight away. I've got a lot of learning to do, Adam. We've got a lot of strength work to do and get his way of boxing, the fast twitch and everything else. So we don't know when it is going to be, but I'm solely based here now. I won't be fighting as an amateur again because it doesn't suit my style. And to be honest, I wasn't enjoying amateur boxing. I couldn't get fights, so when I would, they would pull out. So I travelled all the way to Jersey, had the weigh-in, and she pulled out an hour later. I missed work. And I think that was in May, and that was kind of like, I contacted him, he was in New York. I said, Adam, it's happened again, they've pulled out. And he was like, okay, don't get angry. And I texted him saying, I effing hate amateur boxing. And then he rang me after, said, come to my house, and he was back home, and we just had a chat. And he said, see if you get any more bouts by the end of the season. I didn't. And I think in my own head, I knew then I was done with amateur boxing.
And you said about work just then. What do you work as? What do you do?
I've just recently quit my job, so I can box all the time, but I'm a chef.
Really? Like a qualified, proper, good... Wow. What sort of place do you do that in? Like pubs, hotels, or...?
Like a large corporate company, but it's to do for, Camelot, that run the National Lottery. I was a chef there.
That seems like quite a potentially lucrative career to give up for boxing.
But like I said earlier, you can't play this. You can't be part-time. You either give it everything or don't give it. I think you have to give it everything, and I'm willing to. I know that I've got some good sponsors on board that I can. So for as long as I can give everything I've got to the sport, I think it will reward me in the long run.
Do you live local to here? Does it take you a long time to commute?
I live in Abbots Langley. It's like a little village outside of Watford. So yeah, it's a fair journey, but it's worth it.
Do you think if women's boxing wasn't on the high that it's on right now, with the likes of Katie Taylor until recently, Natasha Jonas obviously, Chantel Cameron, Savannah Marshall, etc., do you think you would have left it a bit longer and had a few more amateur fights before deciding to turn over?
Yeah, probably. But now is the time. Women boxing's on the high, so you're better off striking when it's hot, do you know what I mean? So I think, and if it hadn't have got big in this country, I kind of had it in my head. I know my style. I know that I'm not built for amateurs, I'm built for pros. So I had it in my head, if it wasn't going to get big here eventually, I was going to go to America. Like I went to Vegas a few years ago and I trained out in the Mova gym, and they loved me. They loved my style. And they was already saying to me after one day of training, you should turn pro, like dropping hints. So I knew there was a market in America, but now it's here, and I feel like the market's even bigger here. So I'm ready to.
Who are your boxing heroes? Who do you watch for inspiration?
Roberta Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard, basically the four kings, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberta Duran, Hagler, Hearns, but mainly Duran and Leonard. Just study, especially Duran, because he was aggressive, but he was aggressive with skill, and that's what I want to be like.
Adam's obviously a great fan of the Four Kings as well. Is that one of the reasons why you guys bond so well as trainer and student, if you like?
We had a few conversations before we actually originally met, and I think he sent a message once to see that I did a thing on Instagram or Twitter saying how I do believe this, that Sugar Ray Leonard would beat Mayweather 100%, and he was like, nice to see someone agrees with me today, and then he realised my love for the Four Kings, and then I think that's kind of where maybe a good boxing relationship, because not many people nowadays like my age, you don't ever hear them watching that old genre of boxing.
What, 22, 23?
I've just turned 25.
Okay, great research there.
No, yeah, just turned 25, but I'll take the compliment.
Yeah, sure. It says more about my lack of research, I think, unfortunately, but just one thing I want to ask you before I let you go. I overheard you talking earlier, saying you're going on holiday tomorrow, just at the start of training camp, which you said you booked a year ago. So there's not really anything to be helped. But I believe Adam's given you a full list of training and dietary duties that you've got to adhere to while you're in Mexico. Is that right?
Yeah, well, he's put me on a no sugar, no dairy, no meat, and what else? No egg.
What can you eat?
No food diet. I'm allowed fruit. I'm allowed veg. I'm allowed good carbs. I'm allowed fish. So I don't know if he's making me stick it to 100% whilst I'm on holiday. My partner keeps saying it's not a holiday, it's actually camp now. But no, I couldn't help it. It come at the wrong time. but I'm going to spend the 2 weeks in the sun will do me good, I think. Some rest, but I'm also going to train hard every day whilst I'm out there. So I think it will do me good. I'm not going to go out there crazy eating ice cream every hour, because he'll soon know when he sees me when I come back, and I'm not going to risk that.
It must be tough for a boxing partner. Obviously, it's something that boxers' wives and girlfriends have had to experience for a long time anyway. But I guess as a male partner of a female, you don't expect it. It's not as prevalent, women's boxing. How does he kind of deal with the fact that he doesn't get to see you as much as most boyfriends would? And when you do go on holiday, you're very limited in what you can do.
I'd love to sit here and say, oh, he's okay with it, but I'd be lying. But I met him through boxing. He was a professional boxer. He was a boxing coach, so he knows what it takes. He knows I have to do it. It was someone else wouldn't be as understanding, so he's got the right understanding of it, but he still gets the But like it or lump it, he knows I have to do it, and he knows this is my chosen career. And whether I sit here and moan about it, he is extremely supportive. So I can't moan.
Can you tell us who it is, as he's a former pro boxer?
It wasn't. I'll just keep it quiet.
All right, no, fair enough. Well, we wish you a great holiday. We hope you can kind of get around the dietary restrictions and still have a good time. And best of luck getting straight back into training camp. I'm sure Adam will soon let you know if you're not.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.